Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is going to be another installment into my Triple Crown collection, volume 10. Now, as you can tell in the background, I have nothing but pre-war Triple Crown winners. I got Hippo Vaughn there, Rube Waddell, and Grover Cleveland Alexander, Old Pete. And that is because I wanted to surround this particular player with his peers from the pre-war era. And that is none other than Mr. Walter Johnson here with his T206 portrait card, The Big Train. And I've shared this in the past. I didn't make it a big thing to share this so early in the installments, but it's high time I whip this bad boy out because I'm going to show you my latest pickup coming up, which is going to be part of my Walter Johnson collection now. So let me put him in the background as I get into his earlier days. He actually has 3 career Triple Crown wins, so he's one of the most Triple Crown winners on this list. So it all started with his 1913 season, his first career Triple Crown year, and it happened to be his career year. And the reason why was because he finally learned how to use a curveball effectively, which took a while for him because he was a sidearm slinger who mainly relied on his fastball. But now with this curveball as part of his arsenal at the age of 25, the league had no chance of competing against him. And that's what alluded to his 1.14 ERA, which would remain the 4th lowest at the time until later being surpassed by Bob Gibson in 1968 with an ERA of 112. The Big Train should have actually ended up the season with a 1.09 ERA if not for a traditional Clark Griffith game in which the last game of the season he would host a farce game. And Johnson played the outfield that day as he started, and Clark Griffith would have like a merry-go-round of players just switching positions throughout that game, and that's what was the farce game. So Johnson would start in the outfield and then later was inserted to pitch. And because he didn't take the game seriously, he allowed 2 runners to get on, and then eventually he was relieved by the catcher. And then when the catcher relieved him, of course, he's not a great pitcher, he let those 2-run scores, and the merry-go-round kept going on throughout the game until the game was over. And no one took the game seriously, not the box scorers, not even the other opponent players. But the game later on was actually counted, and he was charged with those 2 runs, bringing up his ERA to a 1.14, or else he probably would have had the lowest ERA for a long time. But eventually that was his best year. He ended up with a 36-7 record along with 243 strikeouts to go along with that 1.14 ERA. Now it's time to unveil my big pickup. Very excited to share this with you, and that is this Big Train card that's authenticated by PSA. And stuck to that picture is this beautiful, beautiful autograph of Walter Johnson, ripped out of or taken out of a scrapbook. It's bold and beautiful, a really beautiful example. Never thought I'd own this bad boy. And to go to show for you, I thought he had like a piece of paper over here where he looped his J, and you know, it went over the paper, and then when you took the paper off, it was missing that loop. But after speaking with other collectors, they told me no, that's what his J looks like. And then I learned that this is actually a brilliant example because he usually signed with pencil, and if he signed with pen, it was very light and scriggly. And let me see if I could get this to stand in the background because it's a big slab here. So it's actually a very good example here, and I'm like really excited to say I now own this Walter Johnson autograph to go along with his portrait card. I'm a big fan of his, and just to show, he ended up with a 2nd Triple Crown in 1918. This one would bookend like his dominant years, in which he pitched really well for 10 years, dominated the league, but for 6 of those seasons he led the league in wins 5 out of 6 seasons. He ended up with a record of 23-13, a 1.27 ERA, and 162 strikeouts. And then his numbers were starting to dwindle a little bit because of his age and all. And unfortunately, he didn't have anything to show for all his dominance as the team kept losing. They would never be able to win. And he was a good scout, you know, a good teammate. He never griped. He never was pissy about it. But eventually, when he was almost ready to give up on his career and quit and start his own team, came 1924. And in that season was a team that finally the owner was able to put together an offense to back up his career, and he enjoyed a resurgence in which he had a 23-7 record, a 2.72 ERA coupled with 158 strikeouts, all good enough to earn him his 3rd Triple Crown. And this coming in a live ball era where it maybe took him a little while to adjust to the live ball and the boost in offensive numbers, but eventually it showed that even in his older age of 36, he was able to still go out there, dominate for another year, and win another Triple Crown. And that's the year he won his World Series and he won his MVP. He would win an MVP his 1913 year, which was his career year, and he bookended it with this final Triple Crown and another MVP, coupled with that World Series. He was just dominant. I could tell you, he never complained about losing. He never griped or asked to be traded. He was a humble man, the friendliest player and teammate. Hitters feared facing him with his blazing fastball, but he never brushed people back. He worried he might seriously injure someone if he played that way. He even let up on his pitches when they had a good lead because he felt it wasn't fun for the hitters if they couldn't get a hit off him once in a while. He was a true gentleman and one I consider the best ever, and that is the one and only Big Train, Walter Johnson.
Yeah. Am I low enough? Keep it down to left end. Take your ball, see, and throw it the same way. Only be careful when you come down. Keep that ball low, see? Let her down low. Your fastball breaks down when it's down low. Bring it up like that. Curveball is a lot better. It's got to be up. Your fastball down. If you have an exceptionally good curve, better curve ball than a fast one, or when you get out there and a base hit might hurt you in a ball game when a good batter up or something like that, well then you want to throw him a curve if you have a real good curve. If you have a better fast one than you have a curve, if you have a real good fastball and not a very good curve, why I'd throw him the fast ball.
So now it's time for me to check off Walter Johnson. I am like 3/4 of the way here. So Walter Johnson's right there. Let's get that checked off. As you could tell, I have quite a few checkoffs here. And I am probably more than halfway done here. And it's looking like I'll probably look to see if I get another installment going. I got sidetracked with some of my other videos I like doing, like the MVP and so on and so forth. My 1952 cards, but yeah, I'll try to remember to do a little bit more Triple Crown focus. But yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna wish everyone happy hunting when it comes to cards. I want everyone to stay safe and be blessed, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.